ironically, I took this job as, need a job, having a kid this year. Never knew I'd be touching so many men. I'm not into this. There's no joy for me. Believe me, pal. These thorough searches are kind of weird. I'm getting better at them. And he moves around to my man breasts, and he spends a long time looking for Hamas inside. Really sorry, sir. It's a real bummer, but security is so important because you wouldn't want to be unsafe. And if I didn't do this, and I'm wondering, is he going to right for it? And he drops to one knee, and he has my testicles in his hand, a blue gloved hand, and I look down to see a large man on one knee, holding my crotch, looking up at me. And it was such a tender, vulnerable moment. Because we both looked at each other kind of like, oh. And so he's looking. And as he's rooting around for Hamas, or whatever he's trying to find in there, a lid of hashish, or whatever the kids are calling it these days, he's rooting around, and my inclination as a heterosexual male is like, what the fuck? But if I do that, that is seen as like trying to conceal something. So I have to endure this groping. And in that moment, I kind of went into the Wayback Machine. And I went back to the times of my youth in the 1850s. And I don't know how many, you women, you should have never done this, but most of you males did this. You tried to go from A to B, you had no car, you could not afford a cab, and you did not have the time to wait for a bus. So you stupidly stuck your thumb out. And the car would pull over, and you'd look in through the passenger side door at the driver's face to assess his perv potential. And you try and gauge this man's, pedophile factor by looking into his eyes to see if he has a kindly face. And you look, oh, look at him, he looks so nice. And you'd get in. And a few blocks in, the thing that was always amazing to me with those rides was 3 blocks in, was how the man had the ability to drive with one hand, jack me off with the other, and have a conversation with me that was more substantive and impactful than any conversation I ever had with my father. And so we're driving, he's jacking me off, and he says, he's able to keep eye contact with the road and kind of look at me at meaningful moments, make sure that he's really digging me and paying attention to me. So he says, what's your sign? I'm like, wow, an adult asking me what my sign is. I feel kind of grown up. I'm like, well, I guess I'm an Aquarius. An Aquarius? Oh, you're wild. You're very creative. I bet you're left-handed. How did you know? Well, you Aquarians, you get up to crazy stuff. So, are you in school? Yes, sir, I'm in school. You're calling me a pedophile, sir. It's creepy. And yes, sir, I'm in school. So, what do you dig in school? What do I dig? Well, he's talking like I'm all grown up. Well, my favorite topic is English, sir. You like reading, do you? Yes, I'm quite the reader. My mother taught me how to read before I was in school because she worked for health education and welfare, trying to learn Johnny how to read in the DC public educational system. And she went all over the world analyzing different educational systems and decided that the European model was really good for America, but of course no one liked it, so her company had to go out of business, and now she's working for national education and planning until some other president kills that one off. Well, I hope she has good luck with that. So, are you digging anything that you're reading right now? Well, sir, in school we're reading John Steinbeck. Oh, so I guess you're reading The Pearl, or The Red Pony, or Of Mice and Men. Actually, sir, I read those 2 years ago just because I was really interested in reading and stuff, so on my own, I'm reading The Grapes of Wrath. Oh, the 1929 Dust Bowl classic. Well, how are you finding that book? Well, the kids in my school don't believe that I'm really reading it. They say, you freak, that book is too big for you to read. Quite honestly, sir, I find it very hard to put down. Well, I hope you enjoy that wonderful Dust Bowl read, because you're going to learn about a man one of these days named Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had one of the most sweeping expansions of government in his time, with a thing called the New Deal. Many of the things are still in use today. Why would a guy like me want to care about something like that, sir? Well, because people all over America benefited from things like the Tennessee Valley Authority and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, not to mention the Rural Electrification Administration that made sure people in rural parts of America got electricity and power so we could do everything from milk the cows to deliver babies. Also, the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1939 abolished child labor and established the minimum wage, giving birth to a thing we call the middle class. Not to mention the Social Security Act, which made sure old folks get what they need after they've done their time in the workforce, and the Securities and Exchange Act, which keeps those people on the case of Wall Street. So these things, young man, you'll need to know all these things as Rush Limbaugh types in the future will try and smash them to pieces like eviscerating the Glass-Steagall Act, like a man named Phil Graham will try to do years later in the great state of Texas. He's a douchebag. I'm Nostradamus, and I've seen the future. You're going to hate his guts. There's my apartment. Well, son, I hope we get together again sometime. And in the 12 or 19 times that happened to me, they are some of the most educational experiences of my life. Anyway, I'm sorry. Back to LAX.